I was busy thinking about.
Baby, I got issues, but I love myself. Baby, I got issues, but I love myself. I don't like the way.
Hello fellow humans. I want to start off by thanking all of you for all your love and support. Like OMG, what is this? I really didn't think it was going to blow up like this, and I feel so fortunate. I'm so happy to know that my previous video made you feel so happy too. Like, I literally started crying. Especially when I read the comments from people who can relate on a personal level. But anyways, wipes off tears. Let's continue with the video. This video will be a little different to my last one. There is no actual texting involved, and it is more like a script. In addition to BakuDeku, there will also be TodoMomo, so please no ship shaming. This is a safe space for everyone. We only have sparkles. Positive vibe sparkles. Here relieved face. Red heart. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Enjoy. Smiling face with hearts. This story takes place in real life, 5 years after they have graduated from UA high school. Momo and Mina had decided to organize a 5-year reunion. It wasn't like the official 10-year reunion held by the school, but Class A wanted to have their own little event. Momo had everything planned out perfectly with the exception of a certain surprise. With the help of Mina and Jiro, Todoroki was able to do something that his girlfriend of 7 years would never have expected. The music that they had playing was just from a playlist connected to a speaker, so Momo was very surprised to see Jiro with a mic in her hand. "Hey everyone, can I get your attention please?" Everyone turned towards the musician, and waited for her to continue. "We have a song request from our one and only half and half friend." The nickname Bakugo had given him all those years ago, made everyone in the venue laugh. It definitely brought back memories. Jiro nodded to Mina, and music started playing. Momo's eyes slowly widened when she recognized the song. It was her and Todoroki's first song. She turned to see her boyfriend extend his hand for her to grab. She took it, and let him lead her to the middle of the dance floor.
Heart beats fast, colors and promises. How to be brave? How can I love when I'm afraid to fall? But watching you stand alone, all of my doubts
Despite the song only being halfway through, Jiro saw Todoroki put his hand in his pocket, and she slowly dragged out that last sentence until she was completely silent. In the palm of his hand was a small velvet box, and he got down on one knee. He opened it to show a round diamond with a silver band. Momo was already in tears when she gasped at the sight of the ring. She covered her mouth with her hands in disbelief of the sight before her. Todoroki had been nervous the whole time, but his face beamed like it never had before when he saw her reaction. When I first met you, there was no light in my life. I didn't know what love was or how to love, but when I got to know you more, I understood. I realized how amazing you are. How smart, funny, beautiful, inspiring, and brave you are. Everything about you made me the person I am today, and your bravery led me to be brave enough to get down on one knee. You are, and always will be, my light in the dark. I want to be with you forever, so will you do me the amazing honor of marrying me? She nodded her head rapidly. Yes. Yes, I will. Shoto's eyes lit up as he slipped the ring on her finger and stood up to pull her into a tight embrace. Everyone started clapping with many happy tears shed. A year had passed, and the couple was finalizing everything for their wedding. They were just leaving the venue when Shoto got a text. He unlocked his phone to read it, and had a clearly surprised and confused expression. Shoto? What's wrong? Nothing. It's just that Bakugo texted me. The bride-to-be mirrored the expression of her fiancé. Bakugo? He never contacts you. I know. He said he wants to talk with us. The two looked at each other, and appeared to be greatly concerned. Ask him if he can meet us for lunch. We need to grab something to eat anyways. Okay, I hope nothing is wrong. Shoto's and Momo's concern were both true and not true at the same time. Over the course of the year, Bakugo had been deeply thinking about something. He had talked to his best friend, Kirishima, about it, and had even visited his mother for advice. After talking with them about it, and getting Aunt Oenko's blessing, he decided to propose to Izuku. They had been dating for almost as long as Shoto and Momo had, and he thought it was about time that they got married. He was nervous about the whole thing, and didn't even know where to start. That's when an idea popped into his head. He knew that it was Shoto's and Momo's big day, and he didn't want to take that away from them. That's why he asked if he could talk with them. After agreeing with Icy Hot to meet the couple at a nearby soba spot, he decided to head there first. He was already seated at a table, and he was bouncing his leg nervously. His nervousness even showed on his face, with a slight mix of annoyance. He hated asking for favors, especially from Icy Hot. Their relationship had improved over the years, to the point where they could have a civil conversation without the hothead blowing something up every time they talked. Even then, asking for help would dent his pride, but it could go fuck itself if it was for the man he loved. He was deep in thought, so he was caught off guard when he heard a voice call out his name. Bakugo? He whipped his head to look over his shoulder. Hey. They both looked very worried as they saw his demeanor. The two sat down, worried about the blonde sitting across from them. Bakugo, is something wrong? Bakugo took a deep breath, and looked up at the both of them. I have a favor to ask. The couple was taken aback. Bakugo asking for a favor? It had to be really important for him to do something like that. Anything. I know it's your guy's big day, so I don't want to take that away from you, but I was wondering if I could propose to Deku during the reception. There was a silence in the air for a moment, that Momo gladly broke with a loud gasp. Oh my god. It's finally happening. Yes, of course. Bakugo slightly smiled, and then looked over to Todoroki, who also wore a smile. Yes, of course. We would love that. It would be an honor. The blonde let out a sigh of relief. Well, that was one less thing to worry about. Thank you so much. This means a lot. Momo's eyes beamed, and it almost seemed as if she were more excited than he was. So have you gotten the ring yet? No. I'm not exactly sure what to get him, to be completely honest. I want it to be perfect. Don't worry about the ring. Midoriya will love anything you get him. I know he will, but I want to give him a ring that's made to fit him specifically. Well, if you don't want it to be a traditional ring, how about one with a green diamond? I think he'd love that. He sat there and considered Momo's suggestion. Yeah, he would like that. And maybe a oval cut diamond. It means the person is bright, smart, and individualistic. That fits him. Momo was taken aback, but it was soon followed by an amused smirk. Bakugo, I didn't know you were such a romantic. The normally hot-headed man looked down to the side, with a barely noticeable blush on his cheeks. I did my research okay. Shoto found amusement as well in his friend's reaction, that he had never seen before, but he still decided to save him from any further embarrassment. That would be great. It would work with a silver band. Bakugo had his elbows on the table, as he pressed his mouth against his interlocked fingers. He wore a familiar frown on his face, as he was lost in thought. Okay. I like that, but I have one more favor to ask. What is it? He hesitated for a moment. It was embarrassing to ask, but he would do it if it's for his boyfriend. Can I borrow your mic? Sure, but why would you? Momo realized it before her fiancé could finish the question. Wait, Bakugo, can you sing? He hesitantly nodded his head. Drumming lessons weren't the only thing that the old hag forced me into. I'm pretty rusty though. I'm sure if you asked Jiro she would be glad to help. Bakugo took everything they said into account. Okay. Thank you. This helps me a lot. I owe you one. Of course. Anything for you too. Lunch is on me by the way. No objections. Before they could say anything, the blonde waved down a waiter, and Shoto could have sworn he had seen a glint in his eye. After having Momo's and Shoto's approval, he started planning for the proposal. He once again sucked up his pride, and reluctantly asked Jiro for her help. After weeks of last-minute preparations and practicing, Bakugo was now ready for the big day. At least he thought he was. Baku bro, calm down. You'll end up scaring everyone off. The two were outside next to the back entrance of the venue, and Bakugo had an intense frown as he paced back and forth. I know. I'm just nervous, okay? Nervous was the understatement of the century. That wouldn't even begin to cover how he was feeling, as every possible scenario ran through his head. He had his eyes squeezed shut, as he tightly gripped onto his hair, and groaned from frustration. He looked up to the sky, and released his grip on his hair, thrusting his arms away from himself in frustration. Fuck. This is the cringiest thing I've ever done, and I don't even know if he'll like it. What if he doesn't like it? What if he says no and runs away? What if? Kirishima stood in front of his friend, and firmly put his hand on either of Bakugo's shoulders. Dude. Calm down. You're starting to act like Midobro, and I can already feel your quirk about to go off. Look, he loves you, okay? He's probably wondering why you haven't even proposed yet. He'll say yes, so stop having a freak out. It'll be fine. Bakugo let his arms go limp to his side, and took a deep and irritated breath. Fine. Thanks, shitty hair. Kirishima smiled, knowing that his best friend was somewhat back to normal. Actually, he was a lot calmer than he would have been at any other time, so it kind of weirded him out, but he wasn't gonna say anything about it. Bakugo had started to pace around again, but not with the same energy that he had before. He whispered the lyrics to himself, and tried to keep his composure. Before he knew it, Ida had popped his head out from the back door, and walked outside. Everything is ready and set. Ida paused as his eyes met Bakugo's. Are you? Of course I am, you fucking extra. Before any more words could be said, he walked back into the building, and the two men left outside exchanged glances. You sure he's ready? Kirishima just shrugged. I have absolutely no idea, but he has to be. Both men followed Bakugo back into the building, and closed the door behind them. The first person Bakugo saw was Mina. She and Momo were kind of the duo when it came to planning events, so it was only natural that it would be her role to do so for Momo's wedding. This included helping the class hothead propose to his boyfriend. Almost everyone from their class was in on it, especially Eureka, who was currently with the green-haired boy, trying her best to contain her excitement. The last thing anyone needed was him suspecting something. After this song finishes, you're up. She handed him the mic, and put a gentle hand on his shoulder, with a soft expression. You can do this. And lighten up a bit. You'll scare everyone. Bakugo chuckled at her words. As I've heard. Suddenly the music stopped, and his eyes shot wide. He felt his heart pounding like crazy. The hero had never been this nervous before. He acted tough when facing a villain, but in reality, he really had his fair share of nerves about some of those battles. The fact that this top fighting villain said a lot. Before he could let himself spiral into nerves, he pulled himself together. Now was not the time to freak out. He could do this. He knew he could. He just had to keep telling himself that. Izuku had been sitting at a round table with Eureka and Tsuyu, when he heard the tap of a mic. He turned around to see his boyfriend standing awkwardly in the middle of the dance floor, with a mic in his hands. The confusion he felt clearly showed on his face. He heard Eureka make a high-pitched noise, and turned to see that she had a huge smile on her face. She was always a very happy and cheerful person, but this was different. Something was up. Then it clicked. Thinking bubble. Is Kachan going to sing? He's never sang in public before. Bakugo stood there, looking at the crowd of people watching him. He was flooded with nerves again, until his eyes landed on his one and only Deku. He let a small smile slip as he looked into his lover's eyes. He could do this for him. He took a deep breath, turned his head to look at Mina, and nodded. Soon enough the music started playing. Perfect, by Ed Sheeran.
I found a love for me. Well, darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me.
Izuku's eyes slowly widened as he heard his boyfriend sing. This was his favorite song, but why is he singing it?
'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass. We're listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home.
It was then that it sunk in. Kachan was singing for him. To him. And he wasn't just singing. He was telling him something. Thinking bubble. Wait, is Kachan? He quickly reached to tightly grab Eureka's hand. He looked at his best friend for support, and she smiled back at him. This was an important moment for him, and she couldn't wait to see the end result.
I found a love to carry more than just my secrets, to carry love
Suddenly Izuku felt a tug on the hand that was grasping Uraraka's, and the other being pulled by Tsuyu. They guided him towards his boyfriend, who was also walking towards them. Tears started to build up at the corners of Deku's eyes, as he pieced everything together. They met halfway, and Izuku felt Tsuyu and Uraraka let go of his hands. He then felt catch and grab and lift one of his hands up, and looked to see him kissing the back of it. Bakugo separated his lips from it, and gently guided it down to Izuku's side. Bakugo then used his thumb to wipe off some of his boyfriend's tears, who had let his cheek rest in his palm, and closed his eyes. The song ended, and Bakugo lightly put the mic on the floor. He opened the box to show a ring. It was exactly what he had talked about with the now married couple, and was just like what Izuku would have chosen, had he been there to do so. He took a deep breath, and pushed all his nerves aside. Izuku, I have loved you since I've known what real love is. Even though I wasn't the best at showing it in the beginning. You are so beautiful, smart, kind, and strong. You always have been, and you always will be. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. I can't give you the world that you deserve, but I can give you all that I am. I want to be with you forever. I love you more than anything, or anyone, in the entire universe. So Izuku Midoriya, would you make me the happiest and luckiest man in the world, and marry me? Not a second had passed by, before Izuku nodded. He was sobbing at this point. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. The blonde took Izuku's hand, and slid the ring on his finger. He immediately lifted his fiancée up in his arms, as small tears started to form in his eyes. They laughed, and he gently brought Izuku back down to his feet. He pulled him into a kiss, and they got lost in each other. It was only after their moment, that they finally heard the cheering and clapping from the crowd. Some of their classmates were crying, others were yelling in excitement, Kirishima to no one's surprise being the loudest, and the rest just smiled happily. Momo, Uraraka, Tsuyu, and a few of their other classmates, ran up to Izuku in excitement with their eyes full of tears. They nearly tackled him to the ground in a group hug. Then they all pulled back, and were grabbing his hand one by one to look at the ring. All of them were giggling in excitement, as Bakugo stood back looking at his fiancée with a smile. The smile that he saw on his lips, was a smile that he will forever protect. He felt a hand on his shoulder, and turned to see that it was Shoto. He didn't smile very often, but this was one of the few exceptions. Izuku was one of his closest friends, so seeing this brought so much joy to him. Congratulations Bakugo. Thanks Sho. Before he could finish his sentence, a certain redhead almost tackled him to the ground. Congrats bro. What did I say? What did I say? Bakugo gave in, and let himself smile. He rolled his eyes before answering. That he would say yes. Kirishima's smile widened twice as much. All of their classmates started to gather around them, when he felt someone grab his hand. He looked down to see that it was his precious Deku looking up at him. He then felt a hard tug on his other arm, which caught him by surprise. Kirishima tried pulling him into a group hug, which he had initially fought against, but once again gave in to. Class A was all together now. Bakugo looked to his now fiancé, who returned the look. Izuku had said yes. He had said yes to their forever. Oh my god. I'm such a hopeless romantic. Loudly crying face. 2 hearts. Anyways, thank you for watching till the end, and I hope you loved it as much as I did. Have a nice day, smiling face with hearts.